It's messed up, in my opinion. I think the whole culture is so strange. That like the mukbang, watching these like basically binges, I think it's really, really problematic. It's disordered.
So I'm here with Abbey Sharp. Everyone loves Abbey Sharp. She's got a great channel, over 400,000 followers, and we're going to get into some heavy topics. And the first one being, what do you think of Lizzo? I think I'm saying it right. Lizzo. Is she good or bad for society in general overall? I mean, she's morbidly obese and she's rubbing her belly and she's having a great time and love yourself. And I'm thinking, shouldn't you love yourself enough to like exercise and lose some weight? But nope, love yourself. What is your opinion on this woman?
So I think the value of the body positivity movement, which I think is something that Lizzo has long been affiliated with, is that it suggests that you can appreciate your body and respect your body, even if it doesn't fit society's ideal. And I think that the same can be said for, disabled bodies and people of color. And I actually did a whole video on Lizzo, and I interviewed some larger body BIPOC content creators as well. So there's a whole video on that on my channel. And I think that's part of Lizzo's message, and I do think that's valid. But I think it's worth pointing out that, somebody's body is not their business card. And we can't necessarily make sweeping statements about their health status just by looking at them. And if we could, I would argue that it would seem to me that just watching Lizzo perform with so much gusto and energy, that she does probably take care of her body. I don't know her diet and exercise regimen at all, but I would say that I am in a smaller body and I could not do a 3-hour performance to that degree. I used to be a performer many moons ago. I used to be a professional singer and do a lot of musical theater. And I can tell you that that's like doing hardcore cardio for like hours at a time without taking a breath, missing a beat. So there's obviously some good conditioning going on there. But I honestly don't follow celebrity gossip. So I don't have necessarily an opinion on whether or not she's like good for society, bad for society, whatever. I like her music. I think she's a musician, and that's what she should be known for, not necessarily for her body. But I will say that from what I've seen, I think her message is largely to kind of honor and respect your body, regardless of its size. And I think that's a valid message. I'm supportive of that message. I also don't think that shaming people necessarily makes them healthy. We've got lots of research to suggest that that is not the way to support people's health journey. And I do think that's arguably a much more positive message than a lot of the influencers that we see on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube in smaller bodies that are promoting these like starvation 1,000 calorie diets or over exercising. So that's kind of where I stand on Lizzo.
So basically, I have two opinions. On one end, it's great that she loves her body and accepts it and is proud of it and not shy to show it off. I think that's fantastic. I think it's great that she does that. However, on the other end, when she glorifies binge eating to the extent of making TikTok videos saying, look at how much food I'm eating, and it's 10,000 calories and she's eating and forcing and then eating it again and saying, do this, and it's like, why are you promoting that? It would be the same thing like me saying, I love my body, I like muscles and the whole thing, and I do a lot of drugs and it's great. Look at all the drugs I'm doing. And it's like, should I really be promoting to do a lot of drugs? Like, it's great that you love your body, and so I see food as kind of like that drug. And it's not socially acceptable to say, like, you shouldn't eat all this chocolates and junk food and all this in massive portions. And that's not healthy to binge like that. But yet it's accepted in the same way that it's okay for me to say, hey, I'm enjoying a glass of wine. But if you said, oh, I'm smoking a joint, it's not quite the same thing, even though in Canada here it's legal. But you could say I'm getting drunk on wine, no problem. And to me, alcohol's worse than marijuana. So food to me is like a drug, and when people kind of just show it and shove it down and just like the mukbang videos, I just see that as such a bad thing. And that is why I'm against what Lizzo is doing to say, it's okay to do all this stuff. And it's like, no, it's not actually okay. So what do you think of that? Like, is Is it okay to just kind of show I'm eating 10,000 calories and I am proud of it and this is great and love your body and I have a big belly and it gives me energy?
So I don't exactly know which TikToks you're referring to with like the 10,000 calories. I don't, again, like I don't follow her, so I don't really watch her content, but I would say that, yeah, like if that's the case and there are TikToks or YouTube videos or tutorials and like mukbangs and these like 10,000 calorie challenges, I think that's problematic content no matter who it's coming from. But I just want to kind of point out that we only really talk about it being problematic when it's coming from somebody in a larger body like Lizzo. Meanwhile, there are so many influencers that I've reviewed on my channel who are in fit bodies or small bodies who do these eating challenges or cheat days with 10,000 calories or whatever. And it's like fun to watch because they look good and it aesthetically it's like, hey, they're eating burgers and it's fine because they're thin. So I guess what I'm saying is that my focus, what I think is problematic, is not the body, it's the behavior. And so I think that those mukbangs or challenges are problematic no matter who is doing it. It's not good. It's not cool.
And I literally have been one of the people that done this. I'm basically hypocritical in that I did a 10,000 calorie challenge from my cookbook. Now, mind you, it's all low calorie foods. But if you ever watch this video, I am completely miserable. And I'm like, I am never doing this again. So to me, it was to prove a point that I couldn't actually do it because if it's lower calories, you're not going to get there. But I was like on the floor. I think I went to the bathroom 15 times a day. I don't even want to talk about what was coming. It was not a pretty sight. It was bad. So don't do these things. So I've been there. I've done that. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and say, I've never done this. I've done it, but wow, it's not good. And literally, I'd probably be better doing drugs than trying to do 10,000 calories because it is literally that bad for you.
Yeah, I would never attempt it myself. That sounds absolutely miserable.
I mean, we're torturing ourselves, and I think people love to see these things, but look at porn. How popular is pornography? People love to see it, and it's something that we're just obsessed with. I think people love seeing other people do things that we like doing. So sex, porn, people like watching that. Food porn, it's like the same thing. It's almost, I would argue, almost more popular. People eat almost more than they're watching porn.
Yep. I mean, it's another form of pleasure and people like they get their own pleasure out of that. It's messed up, in my opinion. I think the whole culture is so strange. That like the mukbang, watching these like basically binges, I think it's really, really problematic. It's disordered.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Pinterest recently has banned ads promoting weight loss. So for example, I couldn't say, hey, this is my cookbook, it helps you lose weight, but yet you can show gaining weight. What do you think of that? Like, I can't believe they can ban one thing, like weight loss is now a bad thing, but you're allowed to promote weight gain.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. And I think that it comes down to probably just the volume of problematic ED supportive content that they were probably seeing on the platform. And they felt the need that they needed to police that. And they maybe don't feel the need to police weight gain just based on the kind of content that they were seeing. Yeah, it's a slippery slope with any kind of content where they're controlling what you're able to see and what you're not and filtering that. But it is more challenging because even I on like TikTok, for example, will be debunking weight loss things and that will get driven down in the algorithm. Even though I'm like anti some of this problematic content, it still is not being seen because it's weight loss related. So yeah, the algorithms are challenging to crack. It's unfortunate that we've had to come to the point where there's so much bad information and misinformation about weight loss that has to be so heavily censored. But this is the reality of social media. There's a lot of dangerous information out there.